Not the right captive, more captiver is what I look.
Just going live and not telling us.
Whatever.
Good evening and welcome to OmniDog's Vault. And no, it's not OmniDog. Well, it is OmniDog's Vault. It's the OmniDog and OmniCat review. I am OmniDog and this is OmniCat. How are you, Kristen?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. And we have a special guest tonight. We have creator Kyle Starks. Kyle, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I feel like I should have picked an Omni animal also. I feel
it's not too late if you want to.
It's too much pressure. It's too much pressure. Omni kangaroo.
I love it. That's you from now on. That's all I'm going to call you.
Cool.
Special Comics Boy Kangaroo, Omni Kangaroo, Kyle. That's it.
Let's go.
Okay, obviously you two have a friendship, so that is my first question, is how did you become friends, or how did you meet and develop a friendship?
I mean, should I? Do you want to? You go ahead. We're interviewing you.
I would say, like, I was at a show, and Kristen and her now fiance. Are you married?
Husband? Yeah, we married. Yeah.
All right. Pandemic year. Who even paid attention? Who was there for any of it?
No one.
But they were not then. They were not engaged then, right?
No, I don't think we were.
You weren't engaged then. But you've been dating.
No.
Anyway, I met them at a show in Lexington, Kentucky. That's not where I live. I live in Indiana. And they were very charming and very sweet.
Oh.
And I told them they were very charming and very sweet. And then they bought a commission from me, which made me like them even more. And I found out they were from my hometown, which is crazy. And so we hung out and we were cool.
Yeah, before the pandemic, we played a game called Pandemic.
Maybe caused pandemic.
Well, you know what? We were really good at that game. Maybe too good.
Here's the thing, though. We were playing Season, and we were not doing good. If you don't,
that's right. That's right. Oops.
We reached a stuck point there. We had a little problems.
Yeah. Do you still have where we paused on that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got to go back.
Yeah, you guys moved like right at that time.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll get together again. You're vaccinated. I'm vaccinated.
Do you feel any safer? I don't know if I do. I still want to.
Really
I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. Today, my wife was like, I can't wait to not wear my mask. And I'm like, why?
Like, who's doing that? Yeah.
Yeah, not me.
I mean, I didn't get sick this year. You know, like every year, every winter, I get sick, and I know it was great. I'm like, oh, well, I'm doing this every day.
Yeah. Well, we had our kids out of school, and I wore a mask, and it's like, well, the kids are going back to school. I'm just gonna wear the mask at home now.
Because kids,
Yes. They're mess. They're gross.
Yeah, that's right.
They bring colds back home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. We're friends.
Okay.
The end.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to continue to wear my mask, especially in the winter, for the rest of my life. And we went out to dinner, my wife and I, last night for the first time indoors, and I fist bumped everybody, which I am doing for the rest of my life. I am not shaking hands with man, woman, or dog ever. Maybe a dog, not
dog for sure. Dog, I would.
Man or woman. I accept hugs from certain women, but no men. I mean, unless
they're just as COVID-y, you know.
Yeah.
Just because there's boobs doesn't mean there's no COVID.
She had a mask. We both had masks on, and we both had been vaccinated, but we were indoors. And I don't have anything wrong. I mean, there's no issue with me hugging men. If I've made a great shot in golf, I will hug a guy if he's my partner.
It just has to be a special time for you.
Oh, okay.
It has to be a big moment.
This isn't a COVID thing. It's just a general thing with guys.
It's unrelated.
I gotcha.
Yeah. I do a lot of shows, though, not for the last 15 months. Like, I do between 26 and 32 shows a year, and I have not shaken anyone's hand in 3.5, 4 years, I bet.
You know, that's one thing. That's one thing I wanted to ask you, because like so many cons are actually opening up in the fall. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm doing. I do a lot of shows. I'm the Rick and Morty guy, right? So like I get flown out. I get asked to do shows. I get to be. It's great, and I love it. I love doing shows. for the most part. It's not when I'm flying out of here 3 times a month. I don't like it as much. Now that I haven't done it for a year, I'm much more like my memories of it is that I like it a lot. But it's like more than half my income. And so last year was pretty rough. It's the first time I've gotten tax returns in like 6 years. That's how bad my last year was. So I'll tell you, I'm doing a show in June. I'm doing a show in Huntington, Virginia in June. And I would say the majority of the reason for that is I'm going to wear a mask the whole time. I'm going to sit behind a table, which is about 3 feet safety. I'm worried about touching money, but I am vaccinated, so it's one of those things. It's like, well, how scared should I be? I don't know. But I'm interested, but I'm also extremely nervous. Like I think they're doing New York Comic Con in October.
They are, yeah.
I've done New York Comic Con, and you can't see across the aisle. Like it's all people, and that's very nerve-wracking for me. But also, again, I like money and I need money. I don't think that I'm going to do I think if they do, I don't know if these shows are going to happen. Honestly, I think they're going to do some of these test shows, and I think Indiana just went. I went to the gas station today and no one had masks on. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you people? It's like, oh, Indiana dropped it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, man, seems premature, but So I'm really interested in what it looks like, how good of an idea they are. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I don't have any of the answers for that. I'm not going to do Chicago because it's in the winter in Chicago, and I wouldn't do it. I'm not going to Chicago in the winter anyway.
No.
Especially now when I'm pushing my paper products through the slush of Chicago, right? It's just dumb to me. I'm not doing Seattle because unless they bring me out, it's just a long trip. And I'm not going to do New York Comic Con this year. I don't think. But I might do some smaller shows to see. I don't know. It's very nervous for me. I'm really thinking if I'm going to do shows, it's probably next year, and that decision is going to be based on hearsay. Excuse me. Dirty. It's going to be a hearsay on how those shows went, basically. Like if they did Heroes Con, which is my favorite show in Charlotte, I can drive to that. Like I would probably do it. It just depends. I don't think I want to do any big shows, and I don't want to do any really, really small like flea market shows because they're not worth it. They're just not worth it for me. And I like them. I think sometimes they're really interesting and charming and fun, and usually they're a lot more intimate experiences with fans.
I mean, I recall that one in Kentucky that I would consider maybe kind of a flea market show. The one that ended after that.
You know what? I would see that. That's a like a small to mid-major show. It depends on how many guests, like who the guests are, and I mean, I'm talking about shows that are literally in flea markets. I've done many of those. But the smaller shows like Memphis Expo or Heroes Con, which is a big show, but it's not gross big like C2E2 or ECC or. I'd consider those, but next year, man. I think I'm gonna do a couple, and what'll happen is I'll make a lot of money, and then I'll be like, maybe I'll do a few more. And it's like, that's dumb. It's dumb, but yeah, conventions. I don't know. I don't have a good answer. I'm going to do one and see how it goes, and I'll probably end up doing a bunch of them stupid. That's the answer.
Well, I'm not going to attend any shows this year. I will next year. I'll attend shows, but I'm on the other side of the table. I have a choice, and you're counting on it for income, so it's a different equation for you.
I think that's a smart way to do it, though. Like I'm doing this one. I'm really it's like an experiment to me. Like, will anyone show up? Anyone I talk to who's in this side of comics is like, oh, people just want to. They're going to be out there, and I'm like, what money do they have? Like, no one worked for you. Like, I'm sure everyone's very excited to get out and see David Tennant, but it's like you can't get near him. Like, what are they going to look like? What's these shows going to look like?
That's true for like photo ops and stuff. What are they going to be? Just like apart and kind of like pointing at each other? Like,
are they going to have like those biological screens with like arms that come through with like gloves on the? Like that's what I'm saying. Like, what are they even going to look like? I'll find out. Everything for the rest of the year besides these tentative 2 shows are to me like that's the canary in the coal mine. Like, let's see what it looks like. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I don't want to get into it, but it seems like so many people are adverse to getting the shot. I feel like it's just going to get worse here in the very soon future anyway, but we'll see. We'll see how it looks. Conventions, who knows? That's the with the headline. Conventions, I don't know, maybe. Question mark?
That's the answer.
Yeah.
I don't. Gosh, I don't know. I don't want to get into a whole thing about shots. It just seems like the smart thing, but
it's free.
Yeah,
it's very
free.
Free, and it doesn't hurt. The second shot made me take a nap for 16 hours, and if that's the side effect, let me have another shot.
Yeah, you're already doing that anyway. I can tell.
Yeah, I had plenty of fun. I was just like, gee, I feel sleepy at 4 p.m. I woke up at like 10 a.m. the next day. And I'm like, whoa, that was.
It's really. I told my wife, like, I didn't feel great. I could have gone to if I had a real job, I could have gone to it, and I could have worked all day. It would have been fine. I wouldn't have loved it maybe, but I don't know. Good, it's free. Go get the shots. It's free, man. Some people are getting like chicken sandwiches or stuff. Like, don't miss out on that chicken sandwich. You can go
That's
get,
true. They're gonna waste
go get a
snacks and
donut, some
stuff.
Krispy Kreme. I can't have that. Go get a donut, man.
Oh,
Come
yeah,
on.
that's right.
Every day, you go get it every day. You go get one free donut every day. I'm 44. I don't need more than one donut a day. That's perfect. I can't even have that donut. I'm diabetic. But if I wasn't, I'd be like, look right here, guys.
So we've gotten your feelings on the pandemic and con going.
Just some of them.
What's that?
Just some of the feelings. I feel like there's a lot more in there.
Yeah.
Where do you think the industry, the comic industry, is right now regarding COVID? And do you feel like things have changed? Will they continue to change, do you think? And how would you like to see them change? Because the distribution models isn't broken, but it seems like it's a lot different than it was a year and 2 months ago.
Yeah. I like how we're getting no softball questions. Kyle, how do you feel about COVID and conventions? Kyle, how do you feel about the direct market? Well, none of these things will possibly get me in any trouble.
You can say skip, pass.
No, I refuse. I have opinions, but I can't wait till we talk about fun stuff. So I've been told that Marvel and DC had record years. I've been told this, so it must be true. I've also been told that OGN sales are way down. So I don't know. I would like to see hard numbers on the year. I do think. Looks around. I do think it's okay that maybe we're relying less on Diamond. I think maybe that's okay. I think Diamond's not been great for this industry. I think they have goofed up I think they've goofed up how webcomics, or not webcomics, how digital comic sales should be, which have been bad for comics. So I'm interested. I know, the thing is, like, people are like, oh, I mean, I know it's because they're bigger, but it's like, Oni switched to Simon & Schuster. A lot of people had already moved away from Diamond for book market for sure, because Diamond can't do at Barnes & Noble's what, Scholastic or Schuster or anyone else could do, right? So they're like, why are we relying on these guys who can't sell books? They can only sell comics, and they can only sell comics maybe because they're a monopoly, which is the truth, probably. So I think it's good that it's changing. I think what will be more interesting to me is not the distribution to comic book stores per se, but how moving away from a monopoly, I'm going to say it's a monopoly, moving away from monopoly will affect the tertiary parts of comics, how it'll affect digital comic sales, how it'll affect independent publishers, how it'll affect the smaller publishers who wouldn't get, like big previews, opportunities, preview space. I think it's interesting. I think Marvel and DC are so far past maybe even worried about the direct market. Like, who cares what they do? To me, like, and I'm also not working for either one of them, so I don't give a shit. But I do think the Diamonds. I was working at a comic book shop when all that went down, when there's Capital and all those. I remember it happened, and it was, no one cared. Like, we were just like, oh, I guess it's, but we didn't, like, the stores itself didn't care. But the thing that sucked is, like, well, if Diamond was sold out of it, you couldn't get it. Whereas before, you could call, one of the other distributors and get it. And it's my understanding that that's kind of how it's still going to work, is like Diamond will still have access to some of Marvel and DC properties, or publications rather, but it's just going to be different. They're just not going to be the same one. I don't know. Take the system down. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that either.
You said something that I'd like to follow up on, because that's disappointing to me that original graphic novel sales were down.
I've heard. Again, I'd like to see numbers. I heard that, but I'll tell you to tangent. If you asked me how many copies anything I sold that wasn't Image Comics, I couldn't tell you. And I just got like my accrual back from one publishing company, and I could look at it, but it's like I don't know how accurate it is. You know what I mean? Like they don't have. It's them giving me the numbers. So even if some places don't even give me the numbers, period. I don't know how many copies anything from Dynamite sold. I don't know how anything that wasn't Image. I couldn't tell you honestly. I've had to ask for things, and even then it's like, well, they can tell me whatever they want, really, you know. So it's like I don't know. I'd be really interested to see the numbers. I know that Marvel and DC had really big years. It's my understanding. Like I know Oni did terrible, but they also had a lot of printing issues, and they had issues with China at the beginning of the pandemic. So does that play into it? I don't know. Like I really don't know. But it's my understanding that Marvel and DC came out great. But then again, like that's them saying it too. Like let me see the numbers, but there's no numbers. There's no way to see the numbers.
Yeah. Well, I'm a collected edition guy, and I think Kristen buys most of her stuff. Am I saying that right, Kristen? You're a collected edition person?
Yeah,
more
for sure.
Person?
Oh yeah, sure.
I just buy Kyle floppies. That's it.
Yeah, that's my girl. You gotta have them. You gotta have those floppy sales. Well, you don't have to, but
it helps.
It helps. It helps because it's advertising. It's a weird. For me, it's two incomes, but it's also like I'm not making royalties off almost anything. So it's not like you want the floppy sales because gosh, I'm gonna make all this money. Though you never know. But yeah, it's like good advertising. So I floppies. I don't know. I've been in a comic store in years, not years. It's been a while, but the pandemic too. So
yeah.
I'm really. I would like to see. That's something I heard. And I don't think Image is like we had a great year. I've never heard them say that. So, you know what I mean? Like it seems to me there's only two places that are really like we killed it last year, and it's like, well, you're both owned by huge industry companies, so I don't know if comics are selling more. I get the impression they are, but like it's so rare in my circle. Someone's like, I bought 10 books. It's like, well, for the pandemic, no, you didn't do that before. And like, oh no, I did that before. And you're like, okay, well that's not an increase. It doesn't mean anything to me. I don't know. I'd like to know. It's what I heard and what I've seen are two different things, but I'm not in that big two universe now. I will be, maybe. I don't know. Who cares?
Well, because I've always wondered, TKO is doing something interesting, which I would love to see, and I wonder if the industry's moving towards that, and that is, besides floppies, they put it out as collected edition already.
I love what TKO does because I think whenever someone's doing something, the way, oh my gosh, now you're gonna get me worked up. All right, so okay. Here's the thing: is like even okay. All right, so here's the thing. So again, I worked in comic all this time, direct market. That's the only way you get comics for years of my life. I'm 44. I'm very old. Until recently, and that is like web comics are a big deal. Digital comics are something that should be available because we all have one of these, right? Everyone has an iPad now. So what's interesting to TKO is that for me, like, why isn't anyone doing for the last? So think about Netflix. Netflix is people get so all over the place. It got me so worked up. All right, younger people today will happily do a subscription service. They will not happily travel to a location and buy something. Why is that? I don't know. It's ease of purchase. I'm sure there's some sort of economic explanation. That's true. You think, oh man, you see commercials for apps where it's like, hey, we'll help you remind you what subscriptions you signed up for that you don't use anymore, right? That did not happen 20 years ago. That's a new way. That's a new economic problem, which is to say something someone should be taking advantage of in comics. No one did a subscription service, a real subscription service. Why wasn't like IDW or Boom or one of these smaller publishers that are not fighting but like would like to get eyes on them? Why didn't any of them offer like something like a Patreon where if you paid $3 a month you get one free comic a month? If you pay $5 you get 4. Why didn't anyone do this? I don't know, right? There's all these opportunities for new ways to try to do business outside of the direct market and OGN, and then hoping they sell well in bookstores. So this is like the thing with Diamond is like, you know, the retailers and the publishers and Diamond have this weird like relationship where no one wants to upset anybody, right? Like if the publisher does something weird and Diamond's like, why aren't you working with us anymore? They're like, oh no, never mind, right? Or if they're like, hey, we're gonna sell digital straight to a retailer, Diamond's like, oh, and then the retailer gets mad if you're doing digital anyway. So what I like about TKO is they were the ones who were like, hey, people love binging stuff. Let's just put everything out all at once. I think it's great. I think that's the type of thing. It's like why TKO has any type of foothold, I think, is because they're very clever. And I think, you know, there's a lot of smaller publishers that are starting to pop up that aren't doing that. But I think they've just realized like there's a way to get in on this bandwidth. Like it's not a closed system. Like Vault's doing great. Of course, they put out amazing books. But there's like Mad Cave has a book out that's real popular right now. I just heard about someone called Behemoth. Like all these little publishers are really starting to get footholds. That's interesting and wasn't happening, you know, 2 years ago. So what happened? I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But I think TKO is great. I wish more people were doing stuff like that, where they were like, let's, like I guess Bad Ideas doing it, but I feel like Bad Ideas doing it in the, like the let's play straight to collectors, like are the spec market guys. It's like a weird. Yeah. So I don't know what's up, but I think, you know what? I like they're trying something new. And they're doing something bombastic, and they're like, hey, it's like comics is different. Like we have the internet now, and the internet has all of these facets of ways to get in touch with people and to sell the product. And yet we're still like, hey, 14-year-old girl who really likes Black Panther movie, walk to your local comic book store. You know, it's like, what do you want? Like, it's not going to happen. And if they do, they're going to go there once, and unless it's a really good store, and there's just not that many, from what I've seen. Like they're not going to stay, and if they did stay, then they would be buying more floppies, and they're not, right? So I don't know. That's me going off on another tangent. I think TKO is exciting. From a creative standpoint, you know, like the ownership thing is a little muddy, but that's part of the game. Like that's part of the game. So TKO is on all of our Hoopla right now, by the way. If you haven't read, it's true. It's on Hoopla, which is awesome. Also, I think it's awesome because I think Boom's like barely on. It's just like so like it's like. TKO is smart. Like they're making sure they're on all these apps. It's like it's smart, man. That's what you want to. That's what I'm interested in. Is smart people doing smart things in this industry. Is that good?
It's hard to get a hold of Boom collected things because it always seems like they underprint all their collected editions that are really popular, like Irredeemable and Incorruptible. I'm forever on a soapbox of why they keep underprinting those books. And then I think they've got Something is Killing the Children has come out.
That's a great book, yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah.
I would question with those first two books how much it has to do with whatever deal Millar has. I don't think it would affect it, but you'd be surprised with like that Netflix deal could affect. He might have his publishing rights too. Like that might have been why he did those books with Boom. There's all sorts of variables like that you just never know what's behind the scene. Because here's the thing I know about comic book publishers. Well, there's two things I know about most comic book publishers. They love making money, and they're not all good at selling comic books. Not all. I said not all. Some of them are very good at it, but.
This makes me think. I want to know if you have hot takes on this because you've done a lot of. I know you do. You've done a lot of successful Kickstarters. Of course, you're the king of Kickstarter. That's what I call you.
Oh, all right.
When we talk, you know, I say that. All of these publishers now, including Boom, are kickstarting a lot of books. Do you have feelings on that?
I think it depends on the book and the situation and the publisher. I know when it happened, a lot of people were up in arms about Berserker, which is Matt Kinn and Keanu Reeves. Why blah blah blah? If you could afford to publish it, why would you? It's like, well, here's the answer: is because Keanu Reeves fans don't go to comic book stores. Keanu Reeves fans probably aren't going to Barnes and Nobles. So if you want to get Keanu Reeves fans to buy your book, you have to find another way to do it. Like this is what I was saying with TKO. Like that's smart. I feel like I saw another one recently. If you're a smaller publisher, which is to say, you're not, you know, Marvel, DC, Boom, or not Boom, maybe Boom, Image, you know, Skybound's like an imprint. Like they're not, I mean, Skybound probably too, because they got some first look deals. If you don't have a first look deal or a good first look deal, why not? Like, and I don't think you should do it. There's a curious problem of like, if they did it for every book, then Kickstarter turns into something else. It turns into a weird mess and it's unnecessary. But I think there's a time and a place for it. I think for Berserker, it's absolutely the way to do it. I don't think there's any other way to do it. Because there's no other way you find those fans. Like these people, like there's like a Jimmy Eat World book coming out, right?
Hmm.
That my friend Alex Pagnadell wrote. I don't know if it's any good. And there's another band book that's escaping me that my friend Trey Dean is writing. For those guys, why just publish it normal? Those fans are never. I'm doing a comic right now for some YouTube streamers. I can't say what it is, but it's a bunch of YouTube streamers that want to make a cartoon. You can figure it out with a minimum search. They wanted to make a cartoon, so they made a pilot. But they're like, oh, we also will go ahead and make a comic book to promote the cartoon when it happens, right? Well, they don't care about the direct market. They have 3 million viewers. If 10% of that buys a copy from each one, that's more than your average comic book sells. So, like, why would you be like, let's just talk? Why would you be like, hey, don't talk about, let's not sell it through your YouTube store? You know what I mean? So I think it depends on the publisher. If Marvel or DC did it and it wasn't something quirky and special, I'm gonna blank on who it is. A pretty big guy just did a Kickstarter for an art book for their Image title that hasn't came out yet. I can't believe I'm blanking on who it is. Do you know what I'm talking about, Kristen, by chance?
I think I know who you're talking about, but I can't
one
think
of
of
the
the
European
either.
writers. It's one of the European writers, and I'm blanking on who it is. But like for stuff like that, to me, they're just like, because Image, owns your printing rights, but you can do this type of fun stuff. Like, I think that's smart. I think it's great. I think that type of stuff's great. So it just depends on the context. Maybe like if DC was like, hey, Batman 400, I'd be like, get out of here, get out of here. But if they were like, I just think like it's not. Sometimes Kickstarter shouldn't necessarily always, like when I do my Kickstarters, it's not paying me to make it to build it. Like I have it done, right? So it's really just another way to buy a product for me where it allows me to print that product. And so I feel like for me, if it's either like those guys never need help getting something made, but if it's a way to get interest and it's quirky in a way that like needs that, I think it makes sense. Smaller publishers, I think, should do stuff pretty regularly. Oni did it with a couple books, and I'm blanking. Lucky Penny. Lucky Penny's one for sure. And like it's gonna get printed anyway because they're big webcomic guys. But like they're big webcomic guys, and they want to print it, and it's like, well, now we can distribute it for you too. Stuff like that is smart. But DC and Marvel don't need that stuff, and Image doesn't need it. But Image doesn't print like everyone else does. It's different. Like Image is different, but they don't need to do it either because they're not like, hey, let's do an artist edition too. Like Image doesn't give a shit. They just want to print. They just want things to happen, like happen around them, and they love it. And Image is the best. Love Image. So
yeah, I'm looking at the who you've gone with publisher wise, and there's Oni, Image, Dynamite,
Skybound.
Sorry,
Skybound.
Okay.
I'm a special Skybound boy right now. Will your future books be solely Image, or are you still okay doing it for whatever publisher says we'll publish your books? I mean, so Sexcastle was a Kickstarter. That was my first major book that I then gave to Image. Kill Them All was a Kickstarter book that I gave to Oni because Oni wanted Sexcastle. That's been an option. Yeah, we're excited about Kill Them All. There's the original printing. So like those are both Kickstarter books. Old Head I just kickstarted last year, and I don't think I'm jumping the gun, but that's going to be out from Image in August, I think. So it's going to be in like next month's previews. Image did Rock Candy Mountain. That's the only series I've done that I wrote and drew. I really like Image, but I'm on my Assassinations from Skybound. We have in June the first issue of six sidekicks with Trigger Keaton, which is very good, coming out from Skybound. I'm doing another series for Skybound, which is a horror non-comedy. Well, it's not supposed to be funny, but I can't help myself. It's a horror non-comedy. So I'm real pleased with Skybound right now. It just depends, man. Like I'm looking for work, so I'm doing this comic thing. We like to do some pitches in some places. There's a lot of publishers I'd like to work for. TKO is for sure. I'm interested because I think it's so clever. Vault, I think it's just because they're doing such a great job. There's a lot of publishers I'd like to work for. It's all Dark Horse. I'd like to work Dark Horse. I think they have an interesting agreement with our deal with comic creators. So it just depends. I love Image. Skybound's been so, they're so kind to me because they keep giving me work. I guess that's all it takes. But like they were like, hey, it's like, hey, Erica Henderson from Squirrel Girl is like one of my very best friends in the world in comics, and we wanted to work together. And she had a window, and I was like, hey, I got a dumb idea, and we said to them, and they're like, yeah, do that dumb idea, which was Assassination. And then I was like, hey, how about we work with my other friend? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. It's like, you guys are crazy. Don't let me do whatever I want. Come on, you're asking for trouble. It's going to get weird. So I like Skybound a lot, but they are, I guess, Image and a lot, but they're not. I'm out, man. Like whomever. Like I'm a gun for hire, per se. I'm very type A, and I have a huge I got to do it my way, or I don't want to do it in a lot of ways. So.
Speaking of gun for hires, I love the idea of assassin rankings worldwide as you open up the book. And I knew I was going to like the book because at number 20 is Fuck Tarkington.
Yeah.
His name is Fuck. So
that's my guy.
This is my channel, so I can say whatever I want, and so can you. So it's fine. Meat Stick, Smush Walker, Rumble Deathmatch. I love this. I love all your books. I love this
Thanks,
book.
man. I appreciate that.
Because now I don't have the one that Kristen has in the background there.
We'll
now,
get it from Image and soon.
Why don't I have that, Kristen?
It's self-published. I did it through Kickstarter.
Yeah, you didn't buy it.
Yeah,
go to his web store. I believe it's on your web store, right?
It's on my web store.
Yeah. I did tell you buy it.
KyleStarks.com.
Actually did. KyleStarks.com. Go there right now.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. You didn't tell me to kickstart that book. Old head.
I don't think we were talking about Kickstarter back then.
Oh, okay.
This was a while back.
Kristen and I trade Kickstarters back and forth, and we always wonder what we're supposed to do with all this pile of add-ons that we've got. And and balls, rubber balls.
I mean,
I'll
some
tell
of
you,
it's good though, right?
Hey,
some of it's good.
Only
I still haven't used it though.
Only special people get that one though, so don't just flash it around.
Put it right here.
Yeah, there was a point in time a while ago when I was doing Rick and Morty, and I'm nominated for Eisner's, and I'm doing great. And I was like, man, I don't feel right doing Kickstarter, which I guess is kind of leans back. I don't feel right doing Kickstarter because I have I don't need it. I can find someone to publish my thing, but and it's like maybe me doing it is casting a shadow over a more deserving creator who's trying to make their way. But here's the thing, man. I love Kickstarter. I love knowing every person who got my book. I do a lot of commission, like quick commission, like little commissions, theme commissions. I like seeing what people will ask for. Like for Old Head, my cheap commission tier was like anything basketball related. It doesn't have to be basketball play. Like if there's a basketball, so like people are doing like Wolverine, like playing hoops from when they did like 3-on-3. Like there's all this like cool stuff. Lots of Space Jam. Like I love that part of it. I love knowing who bought it. I love the little extras. And I also love there's an engagement, and I like that. It's like, hey, I love buying comic books, but what if that comic book also had a bookmark in it, But I do wonder, I try to be like sort of general with my extras, so they're like postcard prints or stickers or a temporary tattoo or a bookmark, small things, right? That are in theoretical usable. Like who wants a print of a book you've never read before? I wonder this every time I do it. Like who really wants a print of look at this cool poster of a character you know nothing about? What if when you get it, like that character is super racist? And you're like, what am I going to do with this racist poster? None of my posters, none of my stuff.
There's highlighter. Yeah, I thought it was Assassination Nation. It's Assassin Nation.
Yeah. There's a movie called Assassination Nation. That's a terrible name. Why are there so many consonants in that? Don't.
Yeah, that's too much.
They should have used that. They should have used my title before the start title, the good title, instead of making a mess of a title for people to confuse that title with. A real mistake on their part. I won that deal. Time will be in my favor. History will favor me.
and I read Mars Attacks, which Kristen has been promoting to me
Good.
to read. I've had it forever, and the reason I didn't read it sooner was I just thought it was an adaptation of the movie. I didn't know it was such a special story. This is, I mean, you're known for your humor, and you're known for assassins and killing and bloody killings and humor. And in this book, I loved how original it. I mean, it's an original story in it, and I loved the ending, and I loved the whole time the son is wheeling the old man around in a wheelbarrow, and while the world's ending, they're having this heart-to-heart end of life talk while these aliens are invading. And I don't want to spoil the ending, but because of the nature of the way you wrote it, the fact that the grown adult son of the old man and that the dog are having this adventure while they're spilling their life stories to each other, and the son wants his father's approval, and the world's ending around them, and then it has a great ending that I won't spoil, but I love all your books, but for that reason with the ending, I think this might be my favorite. And I'm gonna
buy it. Everyone buy it.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna try and promote the heck out of it.
Please.
I will.
So Mars Attacks is probably my third favorite book. Chris Schweitzer is my best friend, the guy who did all the artwork and the lettering, everything. He's also doing the Skybound series, Six Sidekicks, Trigger Keaton. He's my best friend. He did a great job. I think it's my third best book. Dynamite just could care less about promoting it. They could care less about us promoting it. It's the wildest thing. So, like, I love it. A lot of people didn't buy it because they don't care about Mars Attacks. It's like, look, I don't care about Mars Attacks either. What do you think about that? So I think it's one of the things, like, man, like, it's just like, so Old Head's about an ex-pro NBA player. Like, I'm not trying to make anyone read no basketball comic. You know, like, it's not like, I'm not doing like basketball manga. Like, watch me make you read a basketball game. It's like there's monsters up in here, fool. It's the same thing in Mars Attacks. Like, I was a fan of the movie, the Tim Burton movie, and I was like, sure, if I get a good idea, and I got a good idea, like immediately. The editor was great, by the way. Kevin Kettner is one of the best editors I've ever worked with. Neither here nor there, but he came to me, and I was like, he's like, if I get a good idea. I got what I thought was a good idea in the shower immediately, and I texted Chris and I said, hey man, is this a good idea? Because that's how it is being a creative. It's all just imposter syndrome. You need constant reassurance.
Right.
And so I said, Chris, is this a good idea? And he's like, yeah, tell him I'll draw it. I'm like, that's not how it works, dummy. You don't just tell them I'm gonna do it anyway. They said yes. They said they loved Chris too, so he did it. I love that book. It's one of my favorite books. The Mars Attacks things turns a lot of people off, and I don't think it should. I feel the same way about my Rick and Morty books. It's like, if you like anything I've written, you probably like my Rick and Morty books. It's all the same stuff. It's like violence, dumb jokes. It's probably a little dirtier than it should be, and maybe it's clever. I don't know. Try to be. The dog in Mars Attacks' name is Butthead, Kristen. I don't know if you do that. The dog's name is Butthead.
Yeah.
Butthead.
I didn't pick that up until the last couple of pages.
Yeah, I'm really proud of that book. Because I feel like I did a really good service to that universe, and I think I told a really great story, and I'm glad that you like it. It's number 3 to me. Sexcastle and Rock Candy Mountain are just always going to be my babies. They made my career without, and I love. There's nothing I would change about either one. I wouldn't change anything about Mars Attacks either, and it's pretty rare to be like, I wouldn't change anything. Like, even like, maybe I haven't looked at it in a while, but it's like, I wouldn't change anything. That's really special in comics, or for me, and as a creative person.
I just picked up on this comment from a viewer, Darumo, says that I'm going all Chris Farley, and at first I didn't know what it was, and then I remember when the
Beatles, right?
When he had, I think, Martin Scorsese, or who was, he'd have the interview show where he'd lather them all up and start stuttering and just lather the
Just
guest.
getting excited, baby. I'm up for it. I didn't know there were comments just now, but Jimmy is correct. You can get Rock Candy Mountain Volumes 1 and 2 from me for only $20. That's like $5 off. It's a great deal.
Sketch inside.
Well, and the reason why I do that is because it never should have been 2 books. It should have only been 1 book. I didn't know what I was doing. Image, like I said, we break them after 4 issues, so I broke. It's 1 story. It's 8 issues. It should be 1 book. So I do it cheaper, so people will buy both of them, and they'll get the full story. You gotta get the full story. Otherwise, it's a weird break. Like the middle it's a weird place to stop. It's very upsetting. One day I'm gonna reprint that as a hardcover. I think somehow.
Oh.
That's my Rock Candy dream.
Could you kickstart that?
I probably could. Ryan Brown and Charles Soule just did that Kickstarter for curse words, and the reason why that is because this is again like Image. You were like, why wouldn't Image just print that? Well, Image was going to print it, but then they were like, we're kind of overdoing omnibuses because sales are weird on them and they're so big and shipping. And Ryan Brown and Charles Soule was like, well, can we just do it? And they're like, yeah. So they did it. The end. Like that's the story, right? So it's like under those circumstances, like that. Why would Image like if I would do a hardcover Rock Candy Mountain, I would love for it to be Image, right? I would love for it to be in their distribution cycle, but I more want it to exist because it should have been 1 story. And we'll do like handkerchiefs.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're gonna do.
No, do that.
I mean, probably.
I
want to do like here's my this is my tangent because I've talked to Chris for a long time. I want to do like a little like pocket notebook that has like the symbol on it, so it's like Jackson's little notebook and handkerchiefs.
Yes.
That's all I want to do. And that's it.
Please do it. Also, a stretch goal for a ribbon in the book because I love a ribbon in a book.
Oh yeah, see the hardcovers. I don't know anything about hardcovers. That's why it hasn't. Well, I'll talk to Image. I asked Image, and they're like, "This is my real quick Rock Candy Mountain hardcover story." I was like, "Hey, Eric Stevenson, what if we did a hardcover of Rock Candy Mountain? 1, it should have been 1 book. I think it'd sell better if it was 1 book. And 2, I know people love those Image hardcovers." Eric Stevenson's like, "Yeah, this sounds awesome. Like, let's." Eric Stevenson's the CEO of Image. He's like, "Yeah, this sounds great. Let's do it." Let me get my money man in here real quick. Let's make sure. So money man jumps on. He's like, "Hey, what's going on in here?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're just talking about maybe doing a hardcover of Rock Candy Mountain." And he's like, yeah, "Why is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, I think it'd sell better. I think it'd sell better, and I think it'd be cool." And he's like, "Yeah, that book didn't make any money." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." That's a no. We're not going to spend more money to make no money. And I'm like, "Cool. I got you. I'll be over here. $20 on the website."
Well, I know we would get the hardcover for sure. I think everyone watching because that's what we're all about.
I hear it's the whole thing.
Books,
Yeah.
I hear hardcovers the whole thing. People like them.
Yeah.
We love them. With or without dust covers. I know Kristen hates dust covers.
Well, that's a good thing. Image never uses them, so.
Well, Image wouldn't be printing it.
Well, don't put a dust jacket on there. It's more money for you anyway, so don't do it.
Oh wait, here's a compliment. Just sold me on Rock Candy Mountain with his review of it. Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy's also he came to me and he got some books and now he's one of my Patreon backers. So now he gets stickers every month from me too. Stupid stickers.
Yeah, tell us about your sticker club.
All right, hold on. I do a sticker club through my Patreon. My Patreon's cool because I talk about the industry and I talk more openly, which means I say more shit. So I wanted to make stickers for conventions, so I started doing a sticker club on my Patreon, which is $5. $5 through my Patreon, or you can go to my store, $5 flat. That's with shipping anywhere, and you get 2 stickers. 2 stickers a month. My Patreons get to vote on it. It's usually cool pop culture stuff, like lots of Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff. Like this month is Running Man. Last month was Terminator 2. The month before that was Bill and Ted, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this month, I don't know if you can see, is What We Do in Shadows. I'm very proud of them.
Wait, let me highlight you.
Yeah, look.
Yeah, those are great.
Look how good they are. Look at these guys. Oh, they're so blurry. Anyway.
There we go.
So this month is What We Do in Shadows. If you sign up on the source for $5, you can just cancel after a month. I don't give a shit. But you get different stuff every month. And I get to make these stickers. And I can take the stickers to conventions and sell them for a lot more than what I will sell them through my Patreon or store. So that's cool. My Patreon's cool. Like I said, you get to vote on stuff. I usually give discounts at shows when I do shows, or even if you say something to me, I'll make a deal. But yeah, I talk a lot of nonsense. I do Google Hangouts, so I do commissions usually, and we talk shit. and I tell people what's going on, the stuff I signed NDAs for, the secret things, and people will be like, hey, what do you think about Diamond? I'll be like, oh, I'm glad you asked, here in my private, safe realm, and I'll say awful things.
Okay, I want to make sure I get your Patreon in the description so people can go to it. So I'll get the address.
Yeah, it's patreon.com/Kyle Starks, one word, that's me.
Oh, okay. Patreon.com/Kyle Starks.
Yeah, or if you go to KyleStarks.com and there's a merch section, there's stickers, and you can, if you don't want to deal with me, you just want the stickers, that's one way to do it too.
Okay.
Stickers and comics, oh boy, he's everywhere. Commissions, original art, oh, get them.
Hey, I am all into it. I will make sure I will put those in the description so that if people want to go to them, they have a hot link to go right to it.
Reed, I'm in my basement. Reed Chancellor asked if I'm in my garage. I'm in my basement. Homeschooling. I lost my office. I live in a basement now. Yes, I'm not. I'm in a basement. It's worse. I can't even in a garage. I can open a section of it.
You got no sun or anything.
No, I just have a sump pump and wash and dryer off camera. It is what it is. The pandemic was rough on everyone. I live in a hole now. I'm a hole boy. I was kind of always a hole boy, but now it's different. I'm a full boy, a complete boy.
Beside Old Head, is there anything else you can talk about?
Yeah, I have. Old Head. I think is going. I might be jumping the gun, but I think it's going to be in previews next month. It's coming out in August. I'm really excited about it because I think it's made my 4th best book, and that's not because it's my newest. It's good. Old Head's real good. It's going to look the same, but it'll have an image logo on it. It's just like this. Chris Schweitzer colors. Chris Schweitzer was my best friend who don't like colors. Chris Schweitzer and I did Mars Attacks together. We're doing a book at Skybound called The 6 Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton. It is apparently Skybound likes it a lot, which is awesome. I like it. Here's what I've noticed is that, again, my monitor is slightly below the camera I set up, so it looks like I'm very high. All of my behavior is look, I'm like slitted eyes. Listen, guys, it's just a bad camera setup. I'm not high presently.
I don't think anybody thought that, but now we all think that.
I messed up then.
Yeah,
I goofed. So coming out in June. I think the first week of June. June 3rd or 5th or I don't remember when it is. The beginning of June, my new series from Skybound's coming out. It's called The Six Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton, and it's about the world's worst human being who is a professional actor and also like a kung fu expert is found dead. His sidekicks from different shows, who are a bunch of likable dummies who all hated him because he harassed and traumatized them, decide to solve this murder. And of course, it's stupid because they're stupid, and trying to solve a dead guy no one likes crime is stupid. But then they get embroiled in what we call a stuntman war with all the stuntmen in Hollywood trying to kill them. And it's fun. Skybound says it's great.
And how many issues will that be?
6 issues. It's 6 issues, and it has a story in Anthology X, which is Skybound's 10th anniversary anthology series. I think issue 3, which is actually pretty good. They get around. They just told me that my story for 6 Sidekicks is the best story in the whole thing.
Nice.
There's also an assassination story in I think the same issue. If not, it's issue 4. That's fucking Dave. Do a little mini adventure. Eric Anderson did the. I don't know if anyone of Dracula motherfucker, but Erica's on fire right now, and she did. It's so good. The colors, she's so good. It was so great to work with Erica again. So anyway, if you were thinking maybe you didn't care about Anthology X, it might be worth picking up at least whatever issues I'm in, because those will be at least okay. I know there's a Daniel Warren Johnson story in there too, so that'll probably be pretty good too. And Negan, I think, there's a Rick 2000. They're doing a Rick from Walking Dead thing that goes through all 5. But one of them has 1 or 2. I think 2. You don't know, do you, Kristen, offhand?
I'm looking it up right now. So Skybound
3 and
X,
4 or 3?
Number 3 it comes out July 21st. You're in that.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 Sidekicks, the first issue, comes out June 9th. So check that out.
Does it say it's assassination and... I have 2 stories of that, but they're like 3 and 4 or both in 3. I'm not for sure. Anyway, check it out. Anthology, Skybound thing.
The only one coming up with your name is 3, so maybe they're both in there.
They might be both in there. Who knows?
And that's a what is that a?
So this is the Skybound's 10th anniversary. So they're doing a 5-issue miniseries of short, like 8-page stories. I assume mine were 8-page, so I hope they're all 8-page. That's only fair. It's only fair they're all 8 pages. But basically, I'm trying to think of who I know. Like Murder Falcon, I know is in it. They're doing a Walking Dead thing that goes through all 5 of them. I'm just blanking on
Science Dog.
Birthright has something in there. Science Dog wasn't Skybound. That's just I think it's a Kirkman thing. Birthright. Anyway, they kind of got like all the series to sort of, if they could, to do like a little 8-page add-on fun stories. Mine are both great. They are. I'm really proud of them. They came out like I was like, oh, this is terrible. Well, for Assassination, it wasn't, because I was like, man, I'd love to do it fucking Dave. I'd love to do fucking Dave again, you know. But they're like, hey, how about we do one for this book that's an enclosed 6-issue story? Like they solve a mystery. Like I can't do anything before the mystery, or you know what I'm saying? Like you can't like do an add-on to the middle of the mystery story. It's like you can't really do that because there's clues, and I've already written those 6 issues. But we did a prequel with this awful human Trigger Keaton, where he fights a bunch of apes. So that's pretty funny.
Nice.
I love the sound of that book.
Yeah, that's what I got right now. I got some other stuff that's low-key burning, but not I can talk about.
How about some of your favorite comics by other creators? Are there anything that you like coming out right now?
I'm not reading any. I don't think I'm reading anything that's ongoing. I really like Pulp from last year from Brubaker. I think Pulp was one of the best things I read last year. I really enjoyed Something That's Killing the Children. This is funny. I'm always put on the friggin' spot because I know their stuff and I just don't remember because I thought we were only going to talk about me. And that's all I care about, really.
Getting back to you in just a sec.
Those are the best. God, I know you know what I really like the first volume of Outer Darkness. I say this every time. I really like 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank by Matthew Rosenberg. I'm trying to think of things that I really like. Kaiju Max. Kaiju Max good, but I'm behind. I'm way behind on Kaiju Max, but that's a great series. Who else are my friends working on? No, I know I've read some. I'm reading more than I used to read, but it's like older stuff. I just read a bunch of Millar for like technical reasons, like for issue endings, like stuff like that. But it's like stuff that's recent. I know I read something else that it's just why I hate it. I always forget something. I read something else I really liked last year, but Pulp was for sure the best thing I read last year. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, Pulp was great. What about you, Kristen? Do you have any burning things that you'd like to ask Kyle while we have him on the spot? Do you want to put him on the spot again like I just did?
You can't. But you know what? I think here's the thing. People like, whenever we do a show and talk about comics and it's like we talk about the industry, these are like, some of these things are like mechanical, right? But then it's like, oh, what's that thing you like? And I'm like, oh, here, like, I did one thing and they're like, hey, what are you really excited? What was the one thing that you were excited about during the pandemic year, right? And I was like, oh, and I'm like, I know there's something, but like, I didn't think anyone was going to ask me about like the one thing I liked. I don't like anything, you know? And I was like throwing up. And I said to my wife, and I'm like, wife, I know I liked something last year. I know I did. I can vaguely feel it like in the back of my head. And she's like, yeah, you started watching Taskmaster. That's a British.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah.
My daughter turned me on to it.
Yeah. And I was like, damn it, that's the answer. I love Taskmaster. And I did. I watched Taskmaster and it brought me an immense amount of joy, but I forgot about it because I watched them all, you know, I was out. It'd been like 2 months and now I'm kind of waiting. I know the new seasons anyway, it's neither here nor there. But it's like, so it's like, oh, what's the series you like? So it's like, I always try to remember one thing. And then it's like, and it's Pulp. Pulp is so good. And there's a real metaphor for being a comics professional because writing pulps in that book is us. That's me. It's dealing with publishers and all this shit. And it's like a media no one cares about. It's slowly, maybe it's dying, maybe it's not, you know? Like, and I was like, man, I wonder if anyone else will like Pulp, which they do because it's Ed Brubaker and he's brilliant. But it's like, it's for what modern commentary it is. And that's kind of like a kind of closed perspective of being a creator in an industry no one cares about. Like, that's a good book. I like that book a lot, but it speaks directly to me. So yeah, I always try to remember one thing. That's it. I'm bad at it. I should make a list. There's creators like, Matt Kent's in trouble. I know he made people mad, but like Matt Kent's books are good. There's a Norwegian artist, Jason, I get everything by. I love Naku Urasawa, anything he does. Our library, by the way, Kristen just got rid of all 21st Century Boys, so I cannot read it. And
hey,
I can.
I'll let you borrow my copies.
Yeah, just send all 22 copies over to me. All right.
Oh, I'm getting the Fat Perfect edition, so there's only like 11.
There's only 11.
They're beautiful.
Wait, what did Matt Kint do? I didn't hear that.
Oh, he did an
The
NFT.
thing.
It's pretty dumb. But here's the thing. He did an NFT. It's like crypto art, and it didn't make any money.
Thing.
So
yeah.
Anyway, so here's Schweitzer's very good friends with Matt. I can call Matt right now. We could have a phone call, but I'm not tight with Matt. The other thing is, like, why would you? The question was, I said to Schweitzer, I'm like, why would you do this? Like, if you're Matt, like Matt's a good dude. He's a considerate dude. It's so dumb. And he's like, here's the thing. Matt Kent did. This is true. Like, he did a read-along LP Kickstarter for Mind Management. He loves form, and it's like this was maybe an oversight. I don't know, but it's like he can't help himself. It's like it's not a weird like. It's not people trying to cash in on a moment. I don't think it's just like, isn't this interesting? I wonder what we could do. But it's like still kind of a fuck up, Matt. We all know. I bet he doesn't feel great about it. I bet he wishes he made more money. It's what he really wishes. But I love Matt Kent's work. I think everything he does, his work is clever and smart, and it's different. You know what I read that I really like? This is when I really liked the first volume of Stillwater. I was really blown away. Chip's a friend of mine also, but I keep burping because I'm drinking so much soda. I'm a real burpy soda boy, guys. I'm like Willy Wonka. We're going to go downhill. But Chip is anyone who did comedy and kind of has converted at all is really interesting to me as someone who primarily does comedy. But Stillwater is a good book. If you guys haven't read that, he is like, it is some death craftsmanship. He's a smart guy. He's a good storyteller. You can tell. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have that. I think I have that in my pile here of books I've gotten in recently.
Yeah, if you read that first issue and don't want to keep reading, like, I don't know what's wrong. It's so good. First issue's so good.
Well, okay, good. I will make sure I pull it right out and read it.
All right. Okay.
After I order Old Head.
KyleStarks.com/merch.
The collector says you need the beer helmet with a Coke on each side with straws.
I'm trying to look like a professional. To collector, I keep that down here. It's got 2 liters on each side, upside down.
Oh yeah, Matt King's Ether is coming out this week. I think in a extremely large format. That's a great book. I love that book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's good.
I can recommend that book. I do. I think I've done a review on it. Yeah, it's really good. Anything else, Kristen? While we have him, I'm gonna highlight your sticker club and your Patreon. I'm not trying to wrap it up, but
Kristen, ask me anything. I got nowhere to be. We got rid of kids. I'm in a hole.
Kristen, ask him something.
I haven't been able to talk, but
sorry.
Jess keeps jumping in here. He's real fast. Just kidding.
I'll shut up. I'll mute my microphone.
So you work with all your best friends, Chris and Erica, who are lovely. Is that hard, or is that actually easier than dealing with someone else?
I don't know the answer to that because I don't know the answer because I've only worked with people. For the most part, I've never had a problem. I had some issues with the first artist on Rick and Morty, but we didn't work together that long. But Mark Ellerby is one of my favorite people in comics. I would write a joke and he could make it better, which I think is really hard to do. To see it in a way that makes it funnier than how it was just laid out. Or you just see it funny. Maybe Mark just sees it funny. So Mark was great. I did Dead of Winter with Gabo. I love Gabo. He's a good boy who I'd love to work with again. Then I did my own stuff for a long time. Look at me looking backwards like I don't know what I've done. But then I did Rocky Mine, which was all me. Chris colored it, who's my best friend in the whole world. My best friend in the whole world. He's so talented. So he colored that, and then we got to work together. So then I worked with him on Mars Attacks and Erica on Assassination, and I was concerned because Erica was doing so well that there could be conflicts, but Erica's great. She just drew what I wrote, like, for the most part. It's great. Like that's the experience you want. Is like I wrote it and she drew it. Like we both know what we're here for, you know. I'm here for the good mouth jokes, and you make it look cool. It's just like let's go. So like it's great. I would work with Erica. I say it's the optimal. It kind of is, but it's like, man, I'll be the writer and you be the artist. Let's not try to goof around on it. Schweitzer on Mars Attacks was amazing. We had a little goof on Six Sidekicks, but it all worked out. But for the most part, like I've never had a problem, and I'm pretty type A, more than I thought I was as like a non-creative professional. But I'm gonna ask for what I want. I don't care who you are. Like I'm gonna if it needs to be, if I feel like it needs to be a certain way, then it should be a certain way. But for the most part, you know, in this, no one's very rarely. I only say very rarely because Chris did it, but he was flipping out a little bit. He allowed me to say that. He made changes. It's like, don't make changes. But if Chris just sent me pages, he's like, oh, I moved this action to another panel. It's like, I don't care if you do that. All I care is don't change my dialogue. And basically, you can tell like what I want to happen. You know what I mean? Like as long as that happens, I don't care. And who's changed it? Like who's going to go off book? You know what I mean? The biggest problem I had is like people didn't understand. If they don't understand and they don't ask, or if they go to make a big change and they don't ask, because why not? Let's talk about it. Like I am type A, but it's like I'm not dumb. Like if there's a better way to do it, then we'll do it. But for the most part, like I don't know. I'm about to do I'm doing this new series. It's a scary story series. It's about a scary place, and it's an artist I don't think has done very much sequential work. I'm not 100% sure they speak English. I don't know them at all. I'll tell you after this one, I guess, because it'll be the first time I worked with someone who like I didn't know at all. That Mark Ellerby was doing backups. I didn't know Gabo, but Gabo's great. You don't have to worry about it. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it's easier. I don't know. I wonder. You should probably ask Erica and Chris. You know, because they have to deal with me. And it's like for me, I'm obtuse. If I'm like, hey, can you make this cat stand up and eat a corn dog, and you draw the cat roll over and eat a pizza, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck? You know, like why? Like, he could still eat a corn dog in the last panel. Like why? You know what I mean? They're the ones who are like, we should change. Like rolling to a pizza is funnier. I'll just change it. So you'd have to ask them. It's probably not great to work with me. I hope it's fun. But.
I mean, where's the cat corn dog book? Because I need that one.
Cat corn dog? Yeah. I'm drawing it right now.
Okay, good.
That's the first commission I'm going to ask from you. I want to see cat eating a corn dog.
I will remember this reference later. But yeah, I don't know. But you know, I just got asked. I just got asked by another creator who I know from shows, who I wouldn't say I'm friends with, but I always talk to them at shows. We always have a little conversation, and they're doing someone who's doing a cover. I'm not going to give anything away for Six Sidekicks. We're doing a bunch of cool variant covers for Six Sidekicks, and they're a relatively big name, and they reached out and they're like, hey, I'd love to do a book. And to me, that's crazy. It's like, why are you asking me? But it is what it is, right? But I know them, right? And me knowing them just makes it easier to be like he's like, what? I'm like, well, what do you want to draw? And he's like, oh, I'm thinking about this, and I can go, all right, here's my idea. And for me to say to like, hey, to Kristen, like, hey, I got an idea. In your garage, you know, hey, I got an idea. Listen to this, and you'd be like, all right, that's pretty good. But for another person, it's like, oh man. Even if you said no, you're like, that's dumb. I'd be like, you know what you're talking about. But if it was like a complete stranger who I have to sell on my idea, that I'm not selling. Like the thing is, I guess what I'm saying is like, to me, to you, I'm not selling me. Like you know me, and you've seen my work. You know it's probably a good idea, right? It's how good of an idea. I'm really tooting the horn right now, but you know what I mean. You know me. So you know my work. I'm not selling that. But for someone I don't know, it's like I feel like I have to explain. Like it can't be better. It can't be better because I'm trying to explain not just the idea for the story, but the intangible that is me that goes along with it, right?
That makes sense. There's a certain comfort level that you're
so
not going to get there.
For people I know, it's like I can be like, hey, this is my idea, and they know if they know my work. And the thing I'm not Brian Michael Bendis, you know. Everyone doesn't know what I do. I do a pretty niche. I would say I have a unique voice, right? And I do things different. I tell different stories. I hope. I feel like I do, because everyone comes out and no one likes it. I'm just kidding. That's not entirely true. But it's like it's a unique voice. Thank you. And do you like basketball? Do you feel like you like basketball more since you had to read an entire? That's not what it is.
More now.
I love that book. I have to do a pull quote for that book, and I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be a problem. But yeah, so I think that's the thing is like I feel more comfortable working with people who are at least familiar with me. I want either to work with someone who's familiar with me and I know, and if we're friends, it makes it easier for me. If an editor gives me notes, I hate it, no matter what. No matter what, if an editor gives me notes, because one, I thought about this a lot more than they have, right? And two, I showed it to Chris Schweitzer. I showed it to Andy Hirsch, who's a brilliant cartoonist. He does a lot of first, second science books. And maybe one or two other people who I trust who are professionals, right? So then for an editor who's never written anything to be like, maybe this, it makes me mad, even if it's right. But if Chris says, hey, what if a slice of pizza? I go, that's interesting. Tell me why a piece of pizza. Maybe it should be a piece of pizza. And then we laugh about pizza. We do pizza. But it's like, so it's like the people I know, I will laugh about, and I will be like, that's a great note. But anyone who's like it's just tougher. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. But I'm really worried about, man, my scripts are real casual. I feel like I need to rewrite all of them for someone who maybe doesn't speak English. That's my biggest concern right now.
Was this new book your idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all my ideas. Well, not the cartoon one. That'll come out, and no one will care. But it's all me. I'm not doing other people's ideas, man. I mean, a Six Sidekick was sort of Schweitzer's idea. We went and saw it's in all the write-ups. So we saw Knives Out and we saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Once Upon a Time it is what it is. But we really like sort of the going through the shows. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the Moonraker when they're fighting on set. No one's gonna get that reference. OmniDog, Moonraker fan? Maybe?
Yeah.
Right. They're fighting through all the sets. We're like, that's funny. Schweitzer was like, he's like, hey, I have an idea for a book. It's called, no, I don't have an idea. I have a title for a book, and it's called The Six Sidekicks of Captain Karate. And I'm like, that title's no good. And I was like, and your idea is stupid. So let me tell you. And I was like, here's how you make it good. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, this is how you make it good is you do this, you do this, you do this. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, Skybound wants to give us more money. And he's like, will they give me money? And I'm like, weird, right? That's how. So that was, I would say, technically, kind of Chris's idea, but it's now mine. I stole it from him. He made money. We're gonna make money off of it. It's fine. But yeah, I don't want to do other people's ideas. I mean, I'm getting closer to it of other people's characters, but I don't know.
Well, I was just wondering.
I don't love Spider-Man. I don't love him. I wouldn't kiss him. I don't.
That's fair. But
fair.
Cat pizza, corn dog cat, love him.
I need that book now. I really do.
Let's live in their world of corn dog cat.
So you didn't pick this artist, though. I guess that's what I was asking.
Oh, for the horror book?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So I'm gonna tell a story, and I'm gonna look around. And keep in mind, remember all those kind things I said about Skybound earlier, and this is why. So Robert Kirkman is great. I like him a lot. I've met him several times. He's always been very nice to me. He loves Rock Candy Mountain. He's a fan of mine. I'm a fan of his. I think he's brilliant. And last New York Comic Con, which was several years ago, 5 years ago at this point, was the last one they did. I had just read about Skinwalker Ranch. You guys know Skinwalker Ranch by any chance? If someone says yes, anyone in the comments, Skinwalker Ranch? Skinwalker Ranch is like the most haunted place. It's the most paranormal place in America. And I listened to this podcast. I've been listening to podcasts about it because it's so weird. I don't believe in none of it. My wife, she thinks ghosts, maybe. Kyle says, no, thank you. None of it. All bullshit. Until I see one and it's trying to murder me, I don't believe in it. I'm scared of other things. I don't need fake things to be scared of. So I was telling him about this. I was like, I really think this setting is interesting. It'd be an interesting setting. This location, not this location, but this idea of the most paranormal place would be really interesting for a setting. And I'm like, and here's the twist. This is what I think. This explains this and this. And he's like, yeah. I was like, do you think that would be a good story? Or is that dumb? I can't tell if it's dumb or good. Like I said, this is what I do because you have to have constant reassurance, right? And Kirkman's like, he's like, no, I think he's like, it's good. I'd greenlight it right now if I could. And I'm like, well, I didn't pitch anything. I just asking a dude a thing because I was excited in the moment, right? So last year I didn't do conventions, so I didn't make any money, as I said, and I needed money. And I emailed Robert Kirkman and I said, hey, I'd really like to do another series because I need the money real bad. Do you guys need anything? Or are you looking for some genre? And he's like, you should pitch us that book you pitched me at New York Comic Con. I'm like, I didn't pitch you anything. I didn't pitch you anything. I just like said I explained a location. I was like, would I pitch like Disney World? You know, like what if there was a place where there was food and rides? And he's like, yeah, pitch that story. And I'm like, that's not a story. It's just a place. So that's, I mean, like Skybound's taking really good care of me. And it's like, I mean, for publishing, like that's what you want. They'll probably screw me down the road. They'll rip me off somehow, but it's a good contract. Like it's gonna be hard for them to rip me off. It's a good contract. So yeah, they were like, pitch that story and we did it. And looking for an artist was extremely difficult because of a lot of variables that we kind of wanted to be fair to, that just didn't kind of work out. But this, I kind of don't want to say things before it's even been announced, but you know, I didn't have any interest in doing the story unless the main characters was a lesbian couple. It's the only way that it made one, because I think representation is so important. I think it's dumb to be. I just think, what does it matter? Like anything can be anything, so make it something that's interesting, that exists. It's not like it's not like
yeah.
ghosts.
Also,
like,
people exist.
Yeah, lesbian couples are real. You know what I mean? Like, but I thought like that was those characters, seeing those characters in a setting that I don't recall seeing them in is more interesting to me. So we're like, you know, we really would like to find, you know, a gay woman artist. Couldn't find one. Like just like who could do it. So it's like everything's a drag. It's like, well, if we can't have that, then who are we looking at? And it's like, I don't know. So this artist came along that Kirkman liked a lot, and I think they're really good. I don't think they've done anything. I think they've done very little work. So it's going to be interesting all around. But I'm excited about it. I think it'll be interesting. The whole thing will be interesting, and it'll be another series that people go, that was weird. And all the creators are going to be like, good stuff, man.
I feel like we'll say more than that.
You never know.
Not just weird.
I'm way excited for it. I want to know more about.
Yeah, that sounds great.
It's going to be scary. It's going to be scary.
Well, I'm very interested in it.
That's right. I have to learn how to say horror because I've always said horror, which is 2 syllables to me.
Mm-hmm.
Horror, but it sounds like I'm saying 1 syllable, and that's a different kind of genre.
It's true.
Is that a genre?
Everything's a genre. I could do some horror books. That cat book, maybe.
Ooh. So now there's a corn dog pizza and horror.
Now the corn dog is a euphemism.
Oh no.
No.
Oh no. I don't want this book to happen anymore.
No, it's not. It was never going to happen. It was never going to happen.
It's still just my commission, Kristen.
Well, just not horror though.
Not horror. It might be horror, maybe though.
Yeah.
Maybe it's their pet.
Instead of ketchup, it's blood. Yeah.
There's something inside the corn dog.
Oh.
Glass.
Oh.
Nah. This one weird. Yeah. So anyway, we picked this artist because Kirkman likes them, which is good for me. I think he likes me, and that means maybe I can do more than 6 issues of a book. That would be interesting. Also, for this book, I'd like to do 12 issues at least. And I don't know if the modern comicscape allows that, but Skybound has good readership and they have a lot of good first look deals. So fingers crossed. Isn't it weird that I'm like, well, they got that first look deal, so I know I'll option it. But it's like no one's like, I know a bunch of people will buy it because they don't. But I know I'll option it because I've optioned everything. Isn't that weird? That's weird, right? Hollywood's like, we'll give you a lot of money for it. Is anyone reading it? And I'm like, I have like 1,500 people. No, more than that. But it's weird, right?
It's a little weird.
Yeah.
Didn't Skybound recently kickstart a hardcover or something? Am I wrong?
If they did, I don't know. If they did over the last year again. Last year it didn't happen. Like I'm always going to be a year off in my life. because I sit at home, I'm self-employed, right? And I don't go anywhere, and my kids were home. Last year I'm going to be a year off of everything for the rest of my life because it's completely. We just sat around, feel like scared and shitty for a whole year. Like nothing happened. Nothing happened to me last year. I did nothing. The only I didn't create anything last year after February. I'm thinking of this right, except for Karate Prom. That's the only thing I did. It's the only thing I did in 2020, and we're trying to sell that. I have a lit agent trying to sell that, so hopefully that happens too. But nothing's happening.
What you put out was great. So
yeah, I did 2 more. I did 120 something pages, I think. So we're looking to sell it. Yeah, it's good. I know it's really like that's going to be like number 4 or 5. Like I'm really proud of it, and it's different. And I would not be opposed to doing more books that are sort of teeny. Like if
I love teeny stuff.
I like teeny stuff too, but the thing is, my thing is like I have another story I really like to do, but it's just like a little edgier. Like there's like at the end of Karate Prom, there's a bit. It's like, hey, we're gonna go spar after that. And she's like, wink, is that what you call it? That's a little sexy for a teen book, maybe. You know, and I'm worried. It's like, but that's like, why let's not take that out. It's funny. Let's leave. Let's
just a wink.
it. Yeah. So
there's no corn dog. It's fine.
I have like a teen crime book I'd like to do, and I'd like to do some more teen stuff. Probably. I think it's funner. It's because there's less pressure. It feels like you can have more fun with it. It's more. I'm tying my shoe because no good reason. I don't want you guys to see. I guess my shoe is untied. Hey,
here's a good question, I think.
I would say the best place to start. Kristen, you guys are readers, so I'd say Sexcastle is the best place to start. If you like Sexcastle, which is my best book, it was optioned by the Workaholics. When the Russo brothers were going to put it out, it was nominated for an Eisner for best humor publication. I think it's my best, purest book. It is black and white. It is novellicized, which some people don't like. But if you like Sexcastle, I think I can say safely that you will like every other thing I put out. Because I haven't put out. I mean, Rock Candy Mountain is equal to it, but it's a little weirder. Like I think Sexcastle it's a love letter to 80s action movies, so it's familiar ground. But you can see how like my whole shtick is it's big and dumb and there's action and there's a bunch of jokes, but there's probably something sort of serious going on underneath. Like Sexcastle is really about personal choices and the effect parental choices make on us. Rock Candy Mountain is about what one would do, like what links one would go to their family. Old Head is about legacy and destiny, and it's a father-daughter story more than anything else. But there's lycanthropes that turn into like dick weasel monsters. So it's like these big dumb jokes, but it's like I think like the big dumb jokes are fun, but it's more fun for me to tell a story. Like Assassination is really a lot about resolving trauma and making family, and six sidekicks is 100% about found family and friendship. I love friendship. I just love friendship stories. Rock Candy Mountain has a good friendship story. That's why I started doing this story about what links one would go to for their family, and sort of the experimental of trying to do a wushu story in Western comics. It's like it's really about friendship, and that's why I like it's like so like you like Sexcastle, you'll get it. You'll get like it's funny and it's big, but it feels like there's something more happening because there's a subtext to all of it. And that's what I did Rick and Morty for so long. It's like that has subtext in it too. That's what's great about it. Like it's big and it's dumb, but it's kind of smart and it's actually more about how these people interact. And that's kind of what I do with my stuff too. But for less merch, there's less beach towels of my stuff.
Well, I feel like your stuff just punches you in the heart, and you don't expect that.
I set you up and I knock it down. I don't know if that's true, but it's like that's like the thing is like comedy. Like if comedy as a storytelling genre is easy just to be gag a minute and you go ha ha ha, that was funny, right? But if there's nothing else happening, then there's no meat to the story, and that's the part that interests me. The horror stories is gonna be really interesting to me because I'm trying. Whenever I reach a point of story and I'm like, oh, here's a part for a beat, like I'm like, I'll just put a dick joke in. And I'm like, oh right, this is a scary book. I can't put a dick joke in here. So it's interesting because like I really have to sort of like it's natural for me to balance jokes with action with sort of a serious undertone, and to sort of get rid of like a third of that is nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking for me, but I'm hoping it's I'm hoping it's my comedy stuff for normal people, basically. That's my hope. We'll see. But I think Sexcastle is a good place to start if you're like, I don't want to read something black and white that's dumb and stupid. I mean, Erica Henderson drew Assassination. It's easier to get. Your store might have it. KyleStarks.com/merch store has all of it. The Assassination is by Skybound, so it's cleaner. It's got a great artist. Some people don't like my art. I don't blame them. I try the best I can. I try the best I can, guys. And I think some people really like it. I like it, but I know it's not for everybody. So that's to say, either Sexcastle or Assassination. If you get Rock Candy Mountain, please get both volumes, or else you're going to not get it. It's not the whole story.
I love this part in Sexcastle when he meets the head of the town, the town bully sort of that's in charge of everything, mm-hmm. and he asks the Sexcastle asks him, "Are you smoking clove cigarettes?" And the guy goes, "What?" And he says, "Are you a teenage girl? Do you write a lot of serious poetry?" He just calls him out right there because the guy's
later on you can read his poetry.
Yeah, that's so great. He's got like a young adult fiction kind of character, and he's got a peacock in his room for no reason, and
because he's got power in a small town, man. Get some weird shit. You got money just to burn. Get a peacock. Get a big truck. Get a peacock. Let's go. He's like, "You got a peacock?" And he goes, "Yeah." And the guy goes, his bodyguard, his sidekick, or his goon goes, "There's nothing wrong with that." So what? He's got a peacock. What do you care? Who cares? Let a man have a peacock. Sexcastle? Sexcastle's like, I'm just asking, man. Jesus. Now I'm gonna beat your asses.
And then one of his henchmen owns the Tasty Freeze, and I don't know. This book is really, really good for somebody who wants to get to know your stuff because it's really funny, really heartfelt, and tons of bloody action that's awesome. Like
Eric. Yeah, that's good. That's when he kicks a gutter into fake Mr. T's mouth and slices it open.
He punches his teeth out from the back. It's great.
Oh, that's a difference. Yeah, there's that too. Boy, oh boy.
That's the Mr. Yeah, that's
I love
the Mr. T scene. It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man. I like action movies, and the worse they are, the more I like them. I think.
Right.
I like drawing them that way. Lots of bloody. Yeah, Ricky Thunder was my first. Did you read that, Jimmy? Jimmy read it. Jimmy says Ricky Thunder is the first one you should read. That's interesting. Jimmy probably likes to start at the beginning. He's probably he likes to go in order type of guy, I think. Ricky Thunder you can only get on my store, and I like it. It's my first book. There it is.
I like it too.
I think it's cute.
Check it out.
I was telling some the other day that I reread Ricky Thunder, which was my first book. I did it as a webcomic. Ricky Thunder really made my career because someone, when Comics Alliance was around, they found, back when Comics Alliance was great, when Laura Hudson and them were there, they found it, and one of the guys liked wrestling, and they kind of put it over, and then I did Sexcastle, and I'm being introduced to Matt Fraction, and so on and so forth. Yeah, if you like 80s wrestling, if you like 80s wrestling, I think you like it. But I read it the other day, and I'm like, you know what, story's great. I wish I could redraw that whole thing. Not much better. Here's the thing, it wouldn't be that much better, but I could redraw that whole thing.
Even if you don't like 80s wrestling, I think you'll like it.
I think maybe one of the problems, one of the hangups for my stuff is like, people are like, I don't like wrestling. It's like, you'll still like it. It's funny. I don't really care for like basketball,
but I love this. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you're like, I don't really care about Draculas, you'll still like it if you don't care about Draculas. But who doesn't care about Draculas?
I know, right?
Or hobos, but it's like you want to make the thing. I want to put the thing in the world that I like. Like I like all this stuff. Like it interests me, and there should be more of it. Maybe I should do a few less Hitman books, but Daddy loves Hitmans. I don't know what to tell you. But I think like Rock Candy Mountain, I think is like everyone who reads Rock Candy Mountain, everyone who, as far as I know, the number of people who say to me, "Oh, I read Rock Candy Mountain," that's the thing they say to me. Or Sexcastle. It's always one of those, "Oh man, it's so good." It's like, yeah, no one read it. Like no one read it because no one bought it when it came out, and XXX. But it's like, I understand, like they're weird, but it's like I'm trying to reach the point. Old Head was going to be my second book. I don't know if you knew this, Kristen. I was going to do no, it would have been my third book, Ricky Thunder, Sexcastle, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this book, Old Head, which is about a basketball player fighting monsters, and it's about toxic masculinity and legacy. And my wife says, wow, you'll be like the dumb title guy because I'll have Sexcastle and Old. And she's like, that's a good point. But what happened is it got optioned. Sexcastle got optioned. It got nominated for an Eisner. And suddenly I went from being someone that no one gave a shit about to people were like, oh, well, what's going to be next? What's going to be next? And I'm like, oh, well, maybe it shouldn't be the weird book I can't even sell in a sentence, you know? So I did Kill Them All instead, which is basically just a soft sequel to, in many ways, like tonally is just a soft sequel to Sexcastle, which was good because we optioned that too, looking great. But you know, Old Head was going to be my second book. I did 5 years later, and I'm glad because like I reached a point where I thought, people who know me, people who are familiar with my work are going to buy it and they're going to love it. And the big worry is always going to be who's the people who don't know me, who aren't buying my book, and how can I get them to buy it? Maybe if it was scary, I thought. What if it, instead of funny, it was scary? Would they buy it then? We'll find out. Wait and see.
That's Skinwalker Ranch. That's what I'm going to look up later. Is that right?
Yeah, there's if you like if there's a horror podcast that you like, see if they have something about Skinwalker Ranch because I listen to I don't want to I think these people I think all I don't know who's bad and who's good, but I listened to a major horror podcast years ago. I guess like 3.5 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I don't know because time doesn't exist, right? And I was like, man, this thing's really interesting. And I listened to it because I'd heard about it, and I was like, oh, well, they're the biggest one. But if you listen to a podcast about it, it'll probably be interesting because all the stories, they're not like. And I'm kind of not doing. I can't just do that thing, right? Like it's illegal. That's stealing. It's stealing someone else's ghost story, and I'll never do it. I'll never steal your ghost stories. But like all the stories from the place are really good. I stole a couple of things. Yeah, listen to it. You'll be like, he took that, and I'll be like, I did. There's a thing. See, these people. I was real quick. I think I stole it because I'll admit it. These people bought this. They're cattle people, and they bought this ranch cheap, of course, real cheap. But they go to the house. When they get to the house, they walk inside, and there are latches on all the kitchen cabinets, so they won't open. If you don't think that's not inherently creepy.
Yeah, I don't like that.
All of the doors had deadbolts on both sides. That's creepy. That's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
That's creepy. And I'm like, I stole that. I'm proud to say I stole it. It's good. So there's like it's all stuff like that that's real creepy. There's like, and it's just like there's. Listen, check it out, and then we'll talk about it later, Kristen. I'm not gonna talk about it here because it's not even been announced yet. It hasn't been drawn. Single issue hasn't been drawn yet. I've only written 2 issues. I want to do 12.
I'll look it up later. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can text me. It's a good, if you like a good creepy story, it's got some good ones.
Cool.
I definitely.
They did like a Discovery series about it, which is not good. But at the end, or there's a movie, I think it's a movie, and it's on Hulu. And at the end, the Secret Skinwalker Ranch, the TV show, not good. The movie they did that's on Hulu is pretty good. But when you get to the end, Robbie, musician Robbie Williams is there for no explain.
What?
What? Yeah, he's just talking with the other 5 guys who are new to the ranch and talking about it's so fun. You get to the end and you're like, is that international musician Robbie Williams at the Skinwalker Ranch right now? The answer is yes.
That is so weird.
Yeah, so the movie's interesting, but I'll tell you, don't watch the movie. Find a podcast because they're going to do it from the book, and the book is dry, but they'll tell these stories in the book, and it's pretty scary. And you'll see, like, if you like that, and you go, oh, that would be an interesting setting. If only special comics boy Kyle Starks would take a swing at it. I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait.
6 Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton coming out in June. You guys should pre-order it. Go to your local comic book store and say, give it to me, please.
All right, I'll put that in the description too. Yeah,
we need those pre-orders on 6 Sidekicks. It hasn't hit final order cutoff yet, so it's good. Skybound loves it. They're saying nice things all over the place. It's blowing me away. Who knew? They like me.
They really like you.
Yeah, or they want to get those orders really bad. Hey, everyone talk about this book so we get those pre-orders. Okay.
That's a good publisher to really like you, I think.
Pretty good. I like him. I like Skybound a lot.
Sidekick.
Yeah, that first issue is having 3 covers I saw. One of them Erica's doing.
I know Erica's doing 2 covers for the series. I don't know. I don't know if they're for number 1.
Her name's on one of them in previews, so.
Guillory's doing
Pride
one.
Cover?
There is, and you know what? It's by Ed Luce. Do you know Ed Luce? And
Yeah.
I saw the pencils. I saw the pencils yesterday, and they are great. I'll show you later, actually, Kristen, but you can't show anybody. But I'll tell you that what's interesting is, and I asked, I'm like, it's Terry Komodo. It's Terry Komodo in the shower. It's so good. But I'm like, I was like, why didn't you guys use the openly gay character for the Pride cover? And they're like Ed Luce, just do it, Ed Luce. And I'm like, dude, the cover is so good. I was just like,
That's interesting.
It's interesting not to use. But then I thought, well, I saw my wife. I'm like, I guess like there's a character that's openly gay, but there's always a character in my books that's openly gay. But I've never met anyone in my life when you're like, hey, what's going on, Kyle? I'm here with Rob. We're having where are you from? Virginia? That's cool. I'm gay. Oh, like it's never happened to me, right? So my characters don't do it. My characters don't do it because it's disingenuous and it's inauthentic. But to me, there's a character that I wrote like clearly outed gay, and I was like, well, maybe I'm too subtle about it. Is it too? What do you think, Kristen? Is Paul too subtle?
Boyfriend the cat, right? Like
Boyfriend the cat.
Come on.
Yeah, but that's issue 3.
Subtle.
But like early, like he comments on how handsome another male character is, which doesn't mean anything. But and I'm like, maybe it's not as clear. So I don't know. Like maybe some of that stuff you have to look for.
I felt it.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. But Ed Luce, he's so good. I'll send it to you. I'll send you when it's so. It's so good. So it's gonna be great. Yeah. I've had covers like that. We did. There was like an anniversary of Image Comics for Rock Candy Mountain, and we did one with I'm so mad. The big Rocky guy from what was Liefield's fucking? What's wrong with me? Youngblood, the big Rocky guy from Youngblood. So he's in the cover. It's the same cover as the #1, but it's him instead of Jackson. Bad Rock. His name is Bad Rock. So the cover
yelling
says,
Bad Rock from the other room.
Yeah, so it's Bad Rock Candy Mountain. Like that's funny. We did some others. Like Image always does these. Like I think they're fun. Like this is Skybound, not Image, but I still think it's fun when it was like, look at this dumb cover. Yeah, thanks. Reed's like dinner's ready.
Yeah, Reed, are you trying to say something?
I was just about to yell back.
I heard you say Bad Rock.
Yeah, I know. And then I didn't know if you heard it.
I heard it.
Say Bad Rock, and I was like, oh, great.
Okay, cool.
This is always the best part of the show when Reed starts yelling in his answers.
Oh, show everyone your shirt.
Tell Reed this is his moment. It's your moment. And it's my moment.
I just want.
Do you just want to see here? I'll just take off my shirt and just.
Really?
You can't. How am I?
You can. No, come here. You're already pausing the show. Come here.
Ted Nugent is sure.
Yeah.
Well, one dang day.
There you go.
Cool. Hi, Tom.
Bye.
Take care, buddy.
Yeah, Ted Nugent said COVID's not real, and he ended up getting COVID.
Good
Did
times.
he apologize? Because I feel like
I don't think he did.
I don't think he apologizes for anything.
Yeah.
He is just a dick.
A wang dang dick, I'm told.
Yeah.
Dang dick, yeah. Well, I actually do have to get to dinner.
I think we got over the important stuff. Pre-order Trigger 6 Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton from Skybound comes out in June. Go ahead and pre-order Old Head. You can't do it yet. You have to wait till the next diamond. Old Head. You can get Old Head at my store, which has many other things. KyleStarks.com/merch, including my sticker club, which is only $5 flat anywhere in the world. You get 2 stickers. You can also get it by joining my Patreon, which is patreon.com/KyleStarks. $5 flat. You get the sticker club. You can vote on things. And you know what else? You hear me like once a month talk some hot BS. Number 5, I'm the Kyle Starks on all social media, so you can follow me on all your social medias. Look, I know how to do an outro, baby. I'm outroed.
Yeah.
I'm outroed.
You killed it.
And Amazon already has it up for pre-order. Your collected edition. I just checked.
Of Old Head?
December 16th.
No, for 6 Sidekicks. That's going to be for 6 Sidekicks.
Oh.
Yeah, for 6 Sidekicks. December 14th.
Wow.
Well, all right.
Well, yeah, if Amazon has it, it's true.
I already wrote them. I mean, they're going to happen probably. Oh yeah, and get Skybound Anthology X at least issue 3.
Yeah. Now you have to.
Yeah, Kristen and I are going to have to chat afterwards, so I can add all this to the description.
Because you
got
forgot
it.
it all. That's fine. I got it.
She's got it. She's great.
Good. Yeah, she's the brains behind this outfit, so I always have to go to her. Well, thank you
Thanks.
so much for appearing. This has been a great interview. You are an extremely interesting and funny guy. I would love to meet you at a con sometime when it's safe. I don't know when that's going to be.
Next year.
I live in Virginia, but I'm not going to Huntington, Virginia.
All right.
Too
I'm
far.
gonna be there. I'm gonna be there in like a month.
I don't even know where Huntington, Virginia.
Oh, it's not. I probably said it wrong. It's Hun. Come on.
No, you probably said it right. I live in Alexandria, and I don't know where.
It's 45 minutes from Lexington, Kentucky.
That means it's like 6 hours away from.
Oh
me.
yeah, don't do that. It's not worth it. It's not going to be worth it. I promise. It's going to be me and like ex pro wrestler Kevin Nash. I think are like a lot of voice actors.
You're the headliners. Yeah.
I'm. Let's hope not. But I think I'm the only comic. I think I'm the only comic guest announced. But I could be wrong. That might have changed recently. But yeah, so I'm trying to get more that direction. I haven't been like. I mean, I've done like the Carolinas and I've done like New York, Boston, and DC, but more up and down the East Coast.
I definitely see you at Awesome Con because I'm just outside of DC.
Yeah, I'd like to do Awesome Con. I think I did do Awesome Con 2 years ago. Time flies. I was there 2 years ago. Okay. I'd like to do it again. I like DC a lot. I think DC is a great city.
Yeah, and that Awesome Con's a good show. I like it.
Yeah, I do, and I'll be Jimmy. I'll be at Lexington in September in theater. That's in Kentucky. I like Kentucky a lot. I guess I like it fine. I'm not allowed to like it as a Hoosier. Anyway,
I get it.
All the information regarding Kyle Starks will be in the description.
Oh, yeah. Here's what I was going to say. Thanks so much for promoting me in the past, because obviously it's brought people to me. That makes me very excited. And I'm glad you've got Kristen with you, because I adore her. She's great.
Oh, thank you. It's good to see you.
Good. Well, we should end on that note. That's a very nice note. Thank you to the audience. Thank you to Kristen for being my co-host. And thank you to Special Comics Boy Kyle Starks for taking the time to talk to us. And you all need to get Mars Attacks, Rock Candy Mountain, Kill Them All, Assassination, and Sexcastle, and Old Head. Wait, when's Old Head coming out?
August. You can pre-order it in next month. It's going to be the next previews. And don't forget the 40 plus something Rick and Morty comics I did.
Oh, yeah, Rick and Morty.
Yeah. If you're into that, I made so many of those.
And there's great deluxe editions coming out, if that's what you're into.
Yeah, they're the king of deluxe editions. Thanks, guys. I got to go pee.
Goodbye. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.